You've been driving for 40 years. Clean record, no accidents, never even a speeding ticket. Then, one Tuesday morning, you're driving to the grocery store. Same route you've taken 1,000 times. Your phone rings. You glance down for half a second just to see if it's the doctor's office. You don't answer it. You don't even touch it. 3 days later, there's a ticket in your mailbox. $350. Distracted driving, primary offense. You called the police department confused. I didn't even pick up my phone. Ma'am, the law changed in February. Just looking at your phone while the car is running is now a violation. And this will affect your insurance rates for the next 3 years. Your stomach drops. $350 you didn't budget for. And your insurance premiums are about to jump 25%. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's happening right now to thousands of drivers over 65 who have no idea the rules changed. February 2026 brought the biggest shift in driving enforcement in decades, and it's designed to catch experienced drivers off guard. Because the roads look the same, the signs look the same. But underneath, the system has changed completely. And if you don't know what's different, you're about to pay for it. The quiet revolution on American roads. Here's what makes 2026 so dangerous. The laws didn't really change that much. What changed was enforcement. For years, getting pulled over meant dealing with a human being, an officer who could use discretion, who could give you a warning, who understood context. That era is over. Cameras, algorithms, and automated systems are now doing most of the watching. And they don't care that you've driven safely for 40 years. They don't issue warnings. They just record, report, and send you a bill. For seniors on fixed incomes, this isn't just annoying. It's financially devastating. One ticket can trigger insurance increases that cost you thousands over the next 3 years. And many of these violations, you won't even know you committed them until the citation arrives in the mail. Let me walk you through the changes that are hitting older drivers the hardest right now. Your phone is now radioactive. Distracted driving laws have gone nuclear. More than a dozen states moved to primary enforcement this year, which means officers can pull you over for phone use alone, no other reason needed. But here's the part that's catching everyone. You don't have to be texting or calling. Just holding your phone is enough, even at a red light. For decades, we treated stoplights as safe pauses. The car isn't moving, so you're not really driving, right? Wrong. Legally, if you're in the driver's seat with the engine on, you're operating a vehicle, period. First-time tickets are running $200 to $500. But the real damage comes later when your insurance company sees that citation and raises your insurance 15 to 30% for the next 3 to 5 years. One glance at your phone while stopped at a light can cost you over $1,500 in the long run. The fix is simple, but requires new habits. Get a phone mount, use voice commands only, and when you're stopped at a light, pretend your phone doesn't exist.
Speed cameras that never sleep. If you thought speed cameras were limited to a few intersections, think again. AI-powered speed monitoring is now live in construction zones across multiple states, and these systems are brutally precise. They track your speed continuously as you pass through, and if workers are present, even one person standing behind a barrier, you're being recorded. There's no officer to wave you through, no judgment call. If you're going 47 in a 45, the camera logs it and the ticket arrives by mail. What's worse, these zones shift locations constantly. That work zone you drove through safely last week might be in a completely different spot today. School zones are even trickier. Cameras activate 30 minutes before school starts and 30 minutes after dismissal. Speed limits drop to 15 or 20 miles per hour during those windows. If you're even 10 miles per hour over, the system captures your plate.
Many drivers say they never saw the sign or didn't realize the zone was active. Courts don't care. You're responsible to know. The safest move? When you see construction or school zone signs, assume cameras are watching and enforcement is absolute. Drive the exact posted limit, not close enough. The 2-drink gamble you can't afford. For decades, .08 was the magic number. Stay under it and you were legally sober. Several states are now moving toward .05 following Utah's lead. And here's the brutal truth. .05 doesn't feel drunk to most people. It's 1 beer with dinner, a glass of wine at a family gathering, 2 drinks spread over a couple hours. But alcohol affects older adults differently. Metabolism slows, medications interact. What used to barely register can now put you over the limit. And the penalties, identical to traditional DUI. License suspension, ignition interlock devices, fines up to $2,000, mandatory alcohol classes, insurance rates that explode for years. There's no safe calculation anymore. If you drink at all, don't drive. Call a rideshare, ask family, stay over. Because a $30 Uber ride is infinitely cheaper than a DUI that could cost you $10,000 and your independence. License renewals just got complicated. Here's a change that sounds positive but hides a trap. Some states have raised the age for mandatory road tests, meaning you might not retest until your late 70s or even 80s. Great, right? Except they've also made in-person renewals mandatory for seniors. You can't renew online or by mail anymore. You have to show up at the DMV with birth certificates, Social Security verification, the works. And if you miss that appointment, your license doesn't pause. It expires fully. Reinstating an expired license can mean starting over, written tests, road tests, everything. For someone who depends on driving to get to medical appointments, buy groceries, or maintain independence, this can be devastating, and it's completely preventable. When you get a renewal notice, read every word. If it says in-person appearance required, schedule that appointment immediately. Don't wait until the last month. What you need to do right now. These changes aren't going away, they're expanding. More states are adopting automated enforcement every month. But you can protect yourself with a few simple adjustments. Mount your phone. Keep it out of your hands always. Use voice commands or pull over if you need to interact with it. Watch for zones. Construction and school zones are enforcement traps now. Drive the exact limit when you see those signs. Plan around alcohol. If you're drinking, even a little, arrange a ride before your first sip. Read renewal notices carefully. If in-person verification is required, schedule it early and bring all required documents. Use navigation alerts. Apps like Waze and Google Maps now flag speed cameras and school zones. They're not permission to speed. They're reminders to pay attention. You're not a bad driver. You're not reckless. But in 2026, the rules are enforced by systems that don't know you, don't care about your history, and don't issue warnings. One mistake can cost you hundreds immediately and thousands over time through insurance hikes. The good news? These violations are preventable. Awareness is protection. Small habit changes eliminate most of the risk. Stay informed, adjust your routines, and help the seniors in your life do the same. Because the worst thing that can happen isn't getting a ticket. It's losing your independence because you didn't know the rules had changed. Drive safely, stay aware, and don't let 2026 catch you off guard.